May 1945. Somewhere in Bavaria, Germany, the air smells of smoke, mud, and fear. A group of German women, young and trembling, huddles behind a wooden fence. Their uniforms are torn, their faces pale, eyes wide with terror. They have heard whispers of what awaited them if captured: cruel treatment, humiliation, and worse. Across the yard, U.S. soldiers move quietly, their boots crunching on the frozen ground. The women freeze, expecting the worst. But something is different. The soldiers do not shout. They do not strike. Instead, they bring blankets, offer food, and speak in calm, measured tones. Confusion and disbelief ripple through the POWs. Could it be possible that these men, the enemy, were here to protect them? May 1945, Bavaria, southern Germany. The war had ended, but fear still lingered over every town, every street, and every home. The German army had surrendered in pieces. Cities lay in ruins, and families were left to rebuild from fragments of their shattered lives. Among them were young women who had spent years serving their country as nurses, clerks, and secretaries. They had been trained to obey, to follow orders, and to fear what lay beyond their familiar world. Now, those women found themselves in the hands of foreign soldiers. They were prisoners of war, though the term felt strange and frightening. Their minds were filled with warnings, stories of harsh treatment, and endless rumors about what awaited them. Every step toward the holding camps felt like a step into the unknown. Would they be treated fairly, or would the horrors whispered in towns and villages prove true? Inside the camp, the women were exhausted, hungry, and uncertain. Their eyes darted constantly, searching for signs of danger. Every sound, the bark of a dog, the shuffle of boots on gravel, made their hearts race. They were strangers in a strange land, caught between the remnants of a collapsing regime and the uncertain mercy of the victorious Allied forces. Yet, not all was grim. U.S. soldiers, trained in the Geneva Conventions and instructed to care for prisoners, were waiting. Their presence offered a fragile thread of hope, though the women could not yet know it. Blankets, warm food, and kind words were ready for those brave enough to accept them, though accepting would challenge everything they had been taught. This story is not just about war. It is about humanity. It is about fear colliding with compassion, suspicion giving way to trust, and the moments when kindness becomes revolutionary. The women who arrived, trembling, expecting cruelty, would soon experience care and protection that shattered the walls of indoctrinated fear. Each day in the camp brought small gestures that carried monumental weight, changing lives in ways no one could have predicted. By May 1945, Germany was a nation in collapse. Cities lay in ruins from relentless bombing campaigns. Transportation lines were shattered, and the Wehrmacht was fragmented and demoralized. Hitler was dead, and the Nazi government no longer had the power to enforce its authority. Yet the psychological grip of propaganda lingered, especially among ordinary citizens and young women who had grown up believing in the regime's ideals. Many feared that surrendering to foreign soldiers would mean punishment, humiliation, or even death. The Allied forces advanced rapidly across Germany in the final months of the war. Their strategy included capturing remaining soldiers, officers, and civilians while maintaining humanitarian standards. For the Germans, the sudden appearance of well-equipped and disciplined soldiers on their doorstep was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. For women who had been raised on tales of enemy cruelty, The fear of capture felt like an inescapable trap. Prisoner of war camps were set up in occupied zones, including Bavaria. These camps were designed to hold large numbers of captives while providing food, medical care, and shelter. Officers were trained in the Geneva Conventions, which required humane treatment of prisoners, a stark contrast to the indoctrinated fears many Germans carried about the Allies. Rumors and misinformation spread rapidly among civilians. The women entering these camps often expected harsh treatment, punishment for association with the regime, or interrogation bordering on cruelty. Conditions across Germany were dire. Food shortages, destroyed homes, and constant movement of refugees created anxiety and instability. The POWs, many barely adults, had grown up during total war. They had witnessed violence, loss, and propaganda that painted every foreign soldier as a potential executioner. This created a deep psychological divide between expectation and reality. Within this context, the actions of U.S. soldiers were revolutionary in their simplicity. They offered warmth, food, clean bedding, and protection, basic human decencies many of the women had not expected. Each small act of kindness became a monumental disruption to the fears ingrained over years of indoctrination. While the military campaign ended the war, the humane treatment of prisoners showed that victory did not require cruelty. The first steps into the camp were heavy with fear. German women, mostly in their late teens and early 20s, were escorted along dirt paths leading to makeshift wooden fences. Their faces were pale, eyes wide with uncertainty. Many clutched personal belongings tightly, letters, photographs, or small keepsakes, as if these fragments of their past could shield them from whatever awaited. The air was thick with the scent of earth, smoke, and faint disinfectant. Every snap of a boot on gravel made hearts leap. For weeks, the women had heard stories, whispered rumors about what the Allies would do to those associated with the Nazi regime. Some had been told of brutal interrogations, harsh confinement, or even execution. These fears, compounded by years of indoctrination, made each step into the camp feel like crossing a threshold into an unknown nightmare. The camp itself was organized but austere. Barracks made of wooden planks lined the perimeter, with guard towers standing like silent sentinels. Soldiers patrolled in crisp uniforms, their faces calm and professional, not menacing. The women's first glimpse of the camp interior revealed long tables, stacks of blankets, and rows of cots. The scene was orderly, yet the prisoners could not shake the tension that had followed them from their homes. At the gates, officers called out instructions with precise, measured tones. Some of the women stumbled, unsure how to respond. A nurse from Munich whispered a prayer under her breath, while another tried to comfort a younger girl trembling with anxiety. Every sound, the clanging of gates, the rustling of paper, even the bark of a distant dog, seemed magnified, echoing in hearts already full of fear. As the women were registered, the process was meticulous. Each name, age, and occupation was recorded. Soldiers offered food and water during the wait, small gestures that the POWs met with suspicion. Some refused at first, fearing a trap. Others cautiously accepted, tasting nourishment as if testing its reality. The dichotomy between fear and the simple kindness of strangers created silent confusion that left many teary-eyed. The first night in the camp was the hardest. The women were assigned to barracks, given blankets, and shown where to sleep. Sleep was fitful, interrupted by memories of bombed-out streets, lost family members, and the unknown future. Outside, soldiers maintained order quietly, never raising voices unnecessarily. This calm professionalism was disarming. Many of the women could not reconcile it with the horrors they had imagined. Even small acts, a soldier offering a blanket, showing patience, or answering questions politely, began to erode the walls of fear. The women whispered to one another in hushed tones, exchanging disbelief. Could it be that they were safe? That they would not be harmed? That the Allies were not monsters, as propaganda had claimed? The morning sun cast long shadows over the camp as the women cautiously stepped out of their barracks. Their eyes scanned every figure in uniform, every movement, every gesture. The first encounter came when a young officer approached with a clipboard. His voice was soft but firm, asking names, dates of birth, and hometowns. He smiled politely, a human expression alien to the women expecting cruelty. Many held their breath, waiting for a reprimand that never came. The officer handed each woman a cup of water, explaining they would need to stay hydrated. The gesture seemed ordinary, yet carried unexpected weight. Kindness where fear had been expected. A medic followed, carrying blankets and first aid supplies. He knelt before women bruised or scratched during the march. Some flinched instinctively, expecting sharp reprimands. Instead, the medic spoke gently, bandaging minor cuts with care. A few whispered prayers of disbelief, exchanging glances that said, "Could it really be this simple?" Meals provided the next layer of confusion. The women had imagined meager rations, perhaps designed to punish. Instead, they were offered hot soup and bread. The aroma alone brought tears to some eyes, stirring memories of family kitchens and the comfort of home. Many hesitated, unsure if the food was a trick, then slowly took a bite, savoring warmth that seemed almost miraculous. The soldiers watched respectfully, never forcing them to eat, only offering and waiting patiently. Even small acts, showing a woman where to sit, helping a young girl with her bundle, offering directions, were monumental. They had been taught that the enemy was ruthless, yet every interaction reinforced patience, care, and human decency. Confusion mixed with relief, a cocktail of emotions leaving many silent and trembling. The first days continued like this. Hygiene became a revelation. Soldiers showed them how to wash their clothes and bodies, supplying soap, towels, and water. Many women had not experienced a proper bath in months. Tears flowed quietly, not only from physical relief but from emotional release. Some whispered prayers of gratitude, while others hugged neighbors, acknowledging a humanity they had thought lost. The small acts of kindness continued. Soldiers offered pencils for writing letters, blankets for warmth, even chocolate or fruit when possible. Each simple gesture carried the weight of normalcy and dignity that the women had not expected. Fear slowly began to be replaced with cautious trust. Life settled into a routine. The POWs started their daily tasks, folding blankets, tending gardens, assisting in kitchens. These tasks offered purpose and restored a fragment of normal life. Education and literacy sessions quietly engaged minds, while conversation with soldiers encouraged sharing memories and hopes. Trust grew slowly through consistent kindness. Laughter began to echo softly in the camp. Individual stories highlighted the human experience. Helga, a 19-year-old nurse, trembled at memories of field hospitals, yet found solace in the calm gestures of soldiers. Marta, a clerk, expected punishment, yet received bread and a blanket with a gentle smile. Their whispered conversations, shared fears, and small jokes rebuilt identity and resilience. Acts of generosity reinforced trust. Soldiers brought extra food, repaired worn shoes, and offered conversation without judgment. Local villagers contributed small donations. Even simple meals or small celebrations became monumental for the women, showing dignity and care. Each gesture chipped away at fear, gradually transforming the POWs' perceptions. A pivotal moment arrived in late May. Rain drizzled over the camp. During roll call, Captain James moved among the women, offering reassurance and care without harshness. The realization hit. They were safe. During meals, the women received proper servings without judgment. A young medic smiled warmly. The women understood that their captors could be human, kind, and protective. The transformation deepened with each passing day. Fear turned into trust. Withdrawal turned into curiosity. Laughter replaced tears of terror. The camp dogs, once feared, now approached without restraint, licking hands and receiving gentle strokes. The environment itself mirrored the humanity extended to the POWs. Reflection followed. The women realized that acts of kindness, simple, consistent, intentional, were powerful beyond expectation. Fear born of propaganda was giving way to understanding. Soldiers became more than enforcers. They were protectors and exemplars of decency. Helga and Marta recognized that even in war, trust, empathy, and compassion could survive and shape lives. Over weeks, routines anchored stability. Work, education, and leisure activities restored agency. Conversations with soldiers revealed humanity beyond uniform. Emotional recovery progressed. Tears now came from relief, gratitude, and hope. The POWs were no longer defined solely by fear, but were individuals learning to live and trust again. Repatriation eventually approached. Returning to cities in ruins, the women carried memories of both terror and unexpected kindness. They understood the enduring power of human connection. The simple acts of warmth, care, and respect had transformed their captivity into a story of moral reflection and emotional survival. In the end, the journey of these German women POWs is a testament to resilience and humanity. From fear to trust, from despair to hope, their experiences illustrate that even in war, acts of compassion can leave a lasting and transformative impact. The soldiers who protected, fed, and cared for them demonstrated that empathy and dignity can endure, shaping lives long after the echoes of conflict fade. Their story reminds us that even in the darkest times, kindness matters, trust can be rebuilt, and humanity can triumph over fear.